Starting a personal project is always exciting. The energy and enthusiasm of the first steps can make it seem like nothing will be able to stop us. But as time goes by, maintaining that same motivation can become a challenge. The reality of a long project, whatever it may be, is that it requires more than just a brilliant idea. It requires discipline, resilience, and a well-planned strategy. But how can you maintain this discipline throughout the entire journey? The answer lies in more than just willpower. It's in understanding the mechanisms that keep us moving forward, even when the initial enthusiasm begins to fade. In this guide, we will explore the strategies that can help you stay focused, overcome obstacles, and ultimately complete your project successfully. Are you ready to turn this journey into a personal victory? Let's begin. Maintaining discipline in long-term personal projects starts with setting clear and achievable goals. Without a well-defined objective, it's easy to get lost along the way or become discouraged when challenges arise. To ensure you stay on the right track, it's essential that your goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound, the famous SMART objectives. For example, if you're writing a book, instead of simply saying, "I want to finish the book," a more effective goal would be write 500 words a day for the next 6 months. This way, you have a concrete target to hit every day, which makes it easier to maintain discipline. In addition to being clear, goals should be broken down into smaller, more manageable steps. Long projects can seem daunting when viewed in their entirety, but by breaking them down into smaller parts, you make the process more manageable. Each small victory serves as positive reinforcement, helping to maintain motivation and discipline over time. Going back to the book example, instead of focusing on the entire project, you can break the work down into chapters or sections and celebrate each time you complete a part. This approach not only keeps the project moving forward, but also reduces the risk of feeling overwhelmed. It's also important to regularly review your goals. Throughout a project, your circumstances, or even your vision of what you want to achieve may change, and your goals should reflect these changes. Revisiting and adjusting your goals as needed helps ensure they remain relevant and motivating. For example, if you realize that the initial goal of writing 500 words a day isn't working, it might be time to adjust it to 300 words a day, but with a greater focus on quality. The important thing is to maintain flexibility without losing sight of the final objective. With clear, well-structured, and adjustable goals, you create a solid foundation for maintaining discipline throughout your project. Are you ready to set your goals clearly and effectively? In the next step, we'll explore the importance of creating a routine that sustains your discipline. But before that, reflect. What goals do you need to set or adjust to stay on track with your project? Once you have set clear goals, the next step to maintaining discipline in long-term personal projects is to create a sustainable routine. Routine is what transforms goals into daily, consistent actions, helping to maintain focus and productivity over time. The secret to an effective routine is consistency, not intensity. It's better to work regularly, even in small time blocks, than to try to do large work marathons sporadically. For example, if you're learning to play an instrument, practicing 30 minutes every day is more efficient than trying to study for 3 hours on a single day of the week. In addition to consistency, it's important that the routine is realistic and adapted to your lifestyle. Creating a routine that is too rigid or incompatible with your other responsibilities can lead to burnout and giving up. When developing your routine, take into account your most productive times and fit your project activities into those periods. If you are more productive in the morning, for example, set that time aside to work on your project before starting other tasks for the day. The key is to find a balance that works for you, allowing the routine to be maintained long-term without compromising other areas of your life. Another crucial aspect of a sustainable routine is flexibility. While consistency is important, it's equally necessary to know when to adjust your routine. Unforeseen circumstances happen, and it's essential not to punish yourself for not being able to stick to the routine perfectly every day. Instead, allow yourself to adapt and make adjustments when necessary, without losing commitment to your project. If one day you can't follow your schedule, don't let that become an excuse to abandon the project. Pick it up the next day with the same determination. A sustainable routine is one that adapts to changes and keeps pushing you toward your goals. Do you already have a sustainable routine for your project? In the next step, we'll talk about the importance of self-motivation and how to maintain it throughout an extended project. But before that, reflect. How can you adjust your routine to make it more consistent and sustainable? Maintaining self-motivation in long-term personal projects is one of the biggest challenges anyone can face. Initially, enthusiasm is high, and the desire to move forward is strong, but over time, it's natural for this initial energy to wane. To prevent this from happening, it's essential to find internal sources of motivation that sustain your effort over time. One of the most effective ways to do this is to constantly remind yourself why you started the project. What is the final goal? How does this project align with your values and dreams? Keeping these questions in mind helps renew motivation when it starts to weaken. Another powerful strategy is to celebrate small victories along the way. In long projects, it's easy to feel demotivated when progress seems slow or when results are still far off. However, by breaking the project into smaller stages and celebrating each milestone achieved, you create a positive cycle of motivation. For example, if you're training for a marathon, celebrate each increase in mileage or each successful training session. These celebrations, no matter how small, reinforce your motivation and remind you that every step counts toward reaching the final goal. Additionally, it's important to surround yourself with positive influences that reinforce your self-motivation. This may include staying in touch with people who support your goals, following mentors or inspiring figures who have already walked the path you're on, or even consuming content that reignites your enthusiasm. For example, reading biographies of people who have achieved great feats can serve as a powerful reminder that effort and perseverance are worth it. Cultivating an environment that feeds your motivation is crucial to maintaining focus and discipline, especially when the road seems challenging. Are you able to keep your motivation high? In the next step, we'll explore how to deal with distractions that arise during a long-term project. But before that, reflect. What are your sources of motivation, and how can you strengthen them? Distractions and procrastination are the biggest enemies of discipline, especially in long-term personal projects. With so many demands and temptations around us, it's easy to lose focus and put off important tasks. To overcome these challenges, the first step is to identify the main sources of distraction. They can range from constant notifications on your phone to personal worries that divert your attention. By recognizing these distractions, you can start taking steps to minimize them. An effective strategy is to create a work environment that favors concentration by eliminating or limiting access to the main sources of distraction. For example, turning off notifications or setting aside specific times to respond to emails can help keep your focus on what really matters. In addition to controlling distractions, it's essential to develop strategies to combat procrastination. One of the most effective methods is the Pomodoro technique, which involves working in defined time blocks, followed by short breaks. This method helps break the initial inertia and maintain the work rhythm throughout the day. Another useful trick is to start with the simplest or quickest tasks. By completing these small tasks, you generate a sense of progress that can motivate you to continue working on the more challenging parts of the project. The idea is to create a productivity cycle where each small achievement propels the next. Finally, it's important to understand that procrastination is often linked to fear of to aim for every day, which makes it easier to maintain discipline. Maintaining discipline in long-term personal projects doesn't just mean rigidly following a plan, but also knowing when and how to adjust that plan. Regularly reviewing progress is an essential practice to ensure you are on the right track and to identify areas that need adjustments. This review can be weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, depending on the duration and complexity of the project. The important thing is that it is done consistently and objectively. During these reviews, evaluate what is working well and what isn't, and be willing to make changes when necessary. For example, if you notice that a particular approach isn't yielding the expected results, it might be time to try a new strategy. In addition to evaluating progress in terms of goals achieved, it's also important to consider how you're feeling about the project. Long projects can be emotionally draining, and reviewing your progress includes checking whether you're maintaining a healthy balance between working on the project and other areas of your life. If you notice that you're feeling overwhelmed or losing motivation, it may be necessary to adjust your pace or even take some time to recharge. Remember that discipline isn't just about perseverance, but also about knowing when it's time to take a break. Finally, regular reviews offer an excellent opportunity to celebrate the progress you've already made. Recognizing and valuing accomplishments, no matter how small, helps maintain motivation and reinforces discipline. Each completed step, each challenge overcome, is a step closer to the final goal. When reviewing your progress, don't forget to celebrate these victories, as they are the fuel that will keep you moving forward. Adjusting the course as needed and celebrating achievements along the way are practices that ensure you maintain discipline and successfully reach the end of your project. Have you been reviewing your progress regularly? In the next step, we'll talk about the importance of balancing discipline and flexibility in long projects. But before moving on, reflect. How can you improve your reviews to ensure you're always on the right track? Discipline and flexibility may seem like opposites, but in long-term personal projects, they are complementary and equally important. Maintaining discipline is essential to ensure that you are consistently progressing toward your goals. However, excessive rigidity can lead to burnout and even giving up, especially when unexpected challenges or changes in circumstances arise. That's where flexibility comes into play. Knowing when to adjust your plan, change your goals, or even change direction is a crucial skill for maintaining mental and emotional health during a long project. One practical way to balance discipline and flexibility is to adopt the concept of adaptive discipline. This means that while you remain committed to your main goals, you are open to modifying the path to achieving them as necessary. For example, if you realize that a technique or strategy isn't working as expected, it's wiser to adapt or replace it than to insist on it out of sheer discipline. Adaptability allows you to keep moving forward without feeling trapped in a plan that no longer serves your purpose. Moreover, it's important to remember that life is full of unpredictability, and flexibility is the key to navigating it without losing your way. Whether it's a change at work, personal issues, or even a simple day of low productivity, allowing yourself to adjust the pace and expectations is essential for maintaining long-term discipline. This doesn't mean abandoning your goals, but recognizing that the path may have detours and that, with the right flexibility, you can keep moving forward without sacrificing your well-being. Balancing discipline and flexibility ensures that you not only reach the end of your project, but that you do so in a healthy and sustainable way. Have you been able to balance discipline and flexibility in your projects? In the next step, we'll explore how to maintain enthusiasm throughout a long project. But before moving on, reflect. Where can you be more flexible in your project without compromising your discipline? Maintaining enthusiasm throughout a long project is a challenge, but it's crucial to ensure that you reach the end with the same passion you started with. At the beginning of a project, enthusiasm comes naturally, fueled by the novelty and vision of the final goal. However, as time goes on and challenges accumulate, it's common for this initial energy to start to wane. To maintain enthusiasm, it's important to constantly remind yourself of the larger purpose of your project. Why did you start? What do you hope to achieve? Revisiting these questions and reconnecting with your original purpose can reignite your motivation and keep the fire burning. Another effective strategy for maintaining enthusiasm is to vary your approaches and activities within the project. Monotony can be a major enemy of enthusiasm. If you feel that the project has become repetitive or tiring, try changing the way you work on it. For example, if you're writing a book, try changing the environment where you write or experiment with new writing techniques. These small changes can bring a new perspective and make the process more interesting. Additionally, incorporating new learnings or challenges throughout the project can renew your interest and enthusiasm. Finally, don't underestimate the power of celebrating small achievements along the way. Each completed step is a victory, and recognizing these moments is key to maintaining enthusiasm. Take time to celebrate your progress, whether with a small personal reward or simply by reflecting on how far you've come. These celebrations reinforce the sense of progress and accomplishment, renewing your energy to keep going. Maintaining enthusiasm is about finding joy in the process, not just the end result, ensuring that you enjoy every stage of your journey. How have you been maintaining your enthusiasm so far? In the next step, we'll explore how to deal with the final challenges of a long project and ensure that you finish successfully. But before moving on, reflect. What can you do to reignite your enthusiasm for the project? The final challenges of a long personal project can be the hardest to overcome. After investing so much time and energy, it's natural for fatigue and anxiety to begin to set in. At this stage, it's common to feel tempted to rush the process just to finish or, In some cases, even consider abandoning the project. However, it is precisely at this moment that discipline and resilience become most important. To deal with the final challenges, it's crucial to stay focused on the end goal and remember why you started. Reaffirming your vision can provide the necessary push to overcome the last hurdles. Another effective strategy is to review and reaffirm the progress you've already made. When you're close to completing a project, it can be easy to forget how much you've already accomplished. Looking back and seeing how far you've come can renew your spirits and reinforce the confidence that you are capable of finishing. Additionally, it's helpful to break the final steps into even smaller, more manageable tasks. This helps maintain momentum and makes each completed step a significant move toward the finish line. Tackling one challenge at a time, rather than looking at the entire mountain, makes the process more manageable and less intimidating. Finally, as you approach the conclusion, it's important to maintain quality and care in what you're doing. Rushing can lead to mistakes that you might regret later. Take the time to review your work and make the necessary adjustments before finalizing. Remember that the completion of the project is a moment of celebration and accomplishment. So, allow yourself to feel proud of how far you've come and finish with the same dedication with which you started. By dealing with the final challenges strategically and carefully, you ensure that the final result is something you're proud of and that it was worth all the effort invested. Are you ready to face the final challenges and successfully complete your project? With that, we conclude this journey on how to maintain discipline in long-term personal projects. But before we close, reflect. What can you do now to ensure that your project ends satisfactorily and successfully? Reaching the end of a long personal project is an achievement that few experience, but that everyone should. It's proof that with the right discipline, proper planning, and necessary resilience, you can achieve any goal you set for yourself. Now that you're armed with these strategies, what's stopping you from moving forward? Remember that each step taken is one step closer to completion and one step closer to the success you so desire. And of course, don't forget to celebrate your victories along the way, no matter how small. After all, it's these small achievements that build the path to great accomplishments. To continue learning how to stay disciplined and achieve your goals, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Together, we can turn your personal projects into success stories.